There you have it, folks, the Brasher doubloon. It's kind of hard to say that when you think of it without having to say the names of the producers, Brassler and Brom, in the same breath. It sounds like something Danny Kaye would do in one of those specialty numbers. Brahms and Brassler's Brasher doubloon. Try saying that 3 times fast. Earlier I mentioned George Montgomery's 1958 TV series. Well, if you've forgotten about it, it was called Cimarron City. Do you remember that? Now, these days, George is probably better known as an expert furniture maker and spends a lot of his time creating wooden works of art. Did you recognize the man who played Blair? He was also famous for a 50s TV series. He's Marvin Miller, who used to play Michael Anthony, the secretary who gave away all that money from The Millionaire. Do you remember the millionaire's name? John Beresford Tipton. That's tougher than Brasher doubloon. Conrad Janis, who played Leslie Murdoch, made several films in the late 40s and then became a jazz musician and for years headlined with his own band. It was called the Conrad Janis Tailgaters. There he is there. He's quite young. We remember him, too, from Mork and Mindy, where he played Mindy's father, who owned that music store. We'll be right back, but first let's take a look at this.
This month on American Movie Classics, Love's a Hit.
You hear that? We're a hit.
And to think, I owe it all to you.
Ann Sothern and Gene Raymond play a sassy couple trying to get a Broadway show off the ground.
Reassemble the cast, order the costumes, strike up the band. The show will go on.
It's a high-steppin' production with the king of tap dance, Bill Bojangles Robinson, and Fats Waller jazzing up the scene. Hooray for Love, Tuesday, October 28th on American Movie Classics.
Now this is what we call an American movie classic. We wish we had more time to show you why. The stars, like George Montgomery, Ann Rutherford, and Cesar Romero. The future stars, like Jackie Gleason and Harry Morgan. The fabulous dancing of the Nicholas Brothers. Or the immortal music of Glenn Miller and his orchestra. But you'll just have to see for yourself when American Movie Classics brings you a look at the women behind the band in Orchestra Wives. It's part of our Big Band celebration, premiering Wednesday, October 29th.
We're back, and before we continue, I just want to say if murder and mystery fascinate you, then next Monday's fair is right up your alley. Or should I say down your alley. First, we present 3 cases of murder, all calculated to keep you in suspense. One of the tales, titled Lord Mountrago, is a Somerset Maugham story starring Orson Welles as a government official haunted by a rival. Alan Bedell and Elizabeth Sellers star in the other 2 eerie tales. Our second feature is the Penguin Pool Murder, a puzzling case for the unlikely detective team of Inspector Piper and schoolteacher Hildegard Withers. Character actors James Gleason and Edna Mae Oliver star in this mystery that mixes zinging wisecracks with a lot of clues. So be with us next Monday for an intriguing pair of whodunits. I think you'll enjoy both of those. Now, we'll be right back, but first, here's something special from our film archives. American Movie Classics presents Hollywood, the early years, featuring the great films and legendary stars of Hollywood's silent days.
In 1920, D.W. Griffith selected Lillian Gish as his girl in danger when he transferred to the screen the famous play Way Down East. It was the time-honored story of the honest country girl betrayed by a callous city playboy. Despondent, her baby dead, she heads aimlessly out into the New England blizzard.
Hopelessly lost, Anna is unaware that David, the farm boy who loves her, is desperately searching for her. David is played by Richard Barthelmess. Griffith, whose studios were at the time in Mamaroneck, New York, shot most of these exteriors along the Connecticut River. These scenes were supposed to take place at night, and to give this illusion, Griffith tinted the film blue for the audiences of 1920. The dedicated Miss Gish was in almost as much danger as the fictional Anna, spending hours on the freezing ice floes to film these scenes.
back, and tomorrow music and comedy abound on American Movie Classics, and as an added bonus, an outrageous comedy by Mel Brooks. Let me tell you all about it. First, Ann Sothern and Gene Raymond star in Hooray for Love, with specialty acts by Fats Waller and Bill Bojangles Robinson. This backstage musical co-stars Pert Kelton and Lionel Stander. Next, it's Sun Valley Serenade, one of the greatest musicals out of the 40s. It was made in 1941. Star-studded big band package featuring Glenn Miller and his orchestra with Tex Beneke and the Modernaires. And Sonia Henney and John Payne are the stars, with Joan Davis and Milton Berle providing the laughs. How about that cast? Our bonus attraction is Mel Brooks' Western spoof Blazing Saddles, so you want to pay attention to tomorrow's movie clock for the exact movie times. Now, here's today's movie question. What film had the largest makeup budget thus far? The cost was $1 million, and it represented 17% of the total production cost. Think about it. I'll have the answer for you tomorrow. For American Movie Classics, I'm Bob Dorian.
This is an American Movie Classics Election Day update. This year on Election Day, you have a real choice. On other channels, constant news breaks.
Polls closed.
Or 2 uninterrupted American Movie Classics. First,
Pop is a great man.
John Barrymore is the only voter left in his district.
Your Pop's just a drunk old bummer.
How are you going to vote tomorrow?
Now, everyone is interested in how the great man votes. Directed by Garson Kanin. Then,
You've got credibility. You've got the name.
it's Robert Redford running in an election he can't win. Or can he?
I want to know what the hell this campaign is.
Peter Boyle co-stars in The Candidate. You can find out who won the election in the morning paper. So why not enjoy your election night? On Tuesday, November 4th, vote early.
Vote once. Vote twice. Good old tradition.
Then rush home to watch the American Movie Classics Election Day double feature. Spectacular dancing.
When you hear your te amo,
Sensational singing.
listen then.
And a host of Hollywood stars. Betty Grable,
Wonderful, isn't he?
Be the man or the beast.
Don Amici,
You drive a hard bargain, senorita.
Excuse me, I've got to see a man about a horse.
and Brazilian bombshell Carmen Miranda. In the musical extravaganza, Down Argentine Way. Premiering Thursday, November 6th on American Movie Classics.
If you missed any part of today's film, stay tuned. We're going to show them again. Hello once again, and welcome to American Movie Classics. I'm Bob Dorian. Today is Monday, and our gangster double feature stars 2 proven tough guy detectives. First, in The Racket, Robert Mitchum takes on the whole mob operating on the wrong side of the law. Are such hard-boiled syndicate members as Robert Ryan and William Conrad. We're also going to see Elizabeth Scott, who's on hand to keep the romantic fires smoldering. Next, Raymond Chandler's classic gumshoe Philip Marlowe comes to the screen in the person of George Montgomery in The Brasher Doubloon. That's a rare coin that everybody wants, and some will die for. Conrad Janis is in that. Florence Bates, too, and Marvin Miller. Do you remember Marvin Miller? I'll tell you about him later. To conclude our broadcast day, we're going to have a bonus showing of The Man Between. Now, here's the answer to yesterday's movie question. Can you name the Neil Simon comedy that was a spoof of the movie's famous Private Eyes? Among those invited to solve a whodunit were such types as Nick and Nora Charles. There was Charlie Chan, Miss Marple, and Sam Spade. It was a funny movie. An all-star spoof, and it was Murder by Death with David Niven and Maggie Smith. Peter Sellers was in that, Elsa Lancaster, and Peter Falk, too. He was great. I have another question for you a little bit later on. Right now, let's take a look at our movie clock. Now, back in the old days, when Howard Hughes was still a very public man, he produced and even directed some very fine movies. In fact, he was the driving force behind the production of our first film today. It's called The Racket. For Hughes, it was a remake of a silent film by the same name from 1928. When Senator Estes Kefauver launched his famous Senate Crime Investigating Committee in 1950, Howard Hughes realized The Racket was the perfect vehicle to cash in on public interest. Hughes chose John Cromwell to direct. Ironically, Cromwell had been the star of the original 1927 Broadway play, upon which Hughes had based his silent version of the film. The supporting cast is just full of people you're going to recognize from later television triumphs. For example, you'll see Ray Collins and William Tallman. They're on opposite sides of the law here. You may feel that they should both be on the side of justice, since you probably have seen them working together on the old Perry Mason series. Collins was Lieutenant Tragg, and Tallman was Prosecutor Hamilton Berger. Also, if you look very, very carefully, you'll see Mulburn Stone in a small role. He was beloved by a generation of television viewers as Doc on Gunsmoke, so watch for him. Robert Mitchum is the honest cop, and big city corruption is the underlying theme. If you like old-fashioned gangster movies, you're going to enjoy this one, The Racket.